Hey, what's going on everybody? Today I want to do a video on the Avalon VT-737sp. This is a classic preamp that kind of got introduced in 1985 and it's been used on classic records for years and years up until today. So obviously I didn't want a bunch of hardware because I have like a home studio. I don't really want a bunch of hardware and stuff that's going to take up a lot of space. So I decided to buy this plug-in bundle maybe a year and a half ago. And that was one of the preamps that came with the bundle. Let me tell you, I am very impressed with the sound of it and how close it emulates the actual hardware, because I've listened to a few different videos of the hardware versus the preamp and the plugin, and they sound pretty much the same. What I'm going to do today is kind of run through the preamp and show you all the buttons on it and how to track a vocal with it. If you haven't checked out my video talking about the console interface and how to get started with that, I definitely recommend checking that out. I'll put a card up here and you can click on that and watch that before this video. Alright, so let's jump right into it. Alright, so I have the Avalon pulled up. Let's kind of just work left to right and I'll show you a few of the buttons and the stuff that I use the most. You have the preamp gain, so you can kind of set the levels coming in. You have a high Z input if you wanted to plug in an electric guitar or a bass or something like that. You have a high pass filter right here, so if you want to roll off some of the low end and clean up the vocal. I usually keep it around 80, goes up to 120. You have a mic in a line. You can switch between these, so this would be if you were going to plug something in. You do have a high gain. If you have a really quiet signal, you can turn on the high gain, which will increase the gain. You have the opposite, which is a pad. This is a 20 dB pad. If you have a really hot signal, then you can kind of knock it down 20 dB. This is going to invert the phase. If you had like two microphones that were phasing each other out, you can actually invert the phase here. You have a filter, which essentially does the same thing as this high pass right here. You have an attack and release. This is going to actually make the attack 4 times faster, which is really important with tracking vocals. Now here you have the GR meter, which is actually this right here. So if you have the compressor, which I have in, and I put it to, let's say, a 4:1 ratio, and I started to dial this back, you can see the gain reduction happening as I'm changing the threshold, which is really cool. EQ and compressor, this essentially would just have the EQ happening before the compression. Now if you go over to the right, you have all your EQ right here, so you can turn up the treble if you want kind of like a shimmery top end. You can boost the lows and the mids if you want some presence in the mid range. You can roll off a little low end. You can do whatever you want here. This is very helpful to have right here because you can kind of shape the sound that you want for your vocal before coming in. And these down here correlate to the frequencies that you're boosting up here. These are the lows right here. This is the low to mid. This is the low mid to high mid. And then you have the highs right here, the treble. And it's important that this EQ is pressed in because this is turning on the EQ. Again, over here, this turns on the compressor. So it's really important that you have this on. And then you have the output right here. This is how you turn on and off the preamp, or you can press this red button, or you could go up here. And what I do like about this is you can go up and tweak this however you want. Let's say we had it like that and we wanted to keep that. You can go up to the presets and save the preset. You can also copy and paste. So if you copied this and then you wanted to have your other microphone have the same exact thing going on, you would put on the Avalon and then you would just paste this preset. And that's pretty much it for the Avalon. You really don't have to know all that much. Really just the EQ and compression and adjust the preamp gain accordingly. If you want to plug in an instrument, that's about it. So what we're going to do now is track 2 vocals, and one's going to be using this and then one's not going to be using this. So one will be the stock preamp and then one will be using the unison technology to have the Avalon engaged.
She had a way about her that made me feel special. Something in her eyes that made me a soul. She had a way of telling me all of my problems. I guess some women have a way to know. But what was the problem with something I said just a little too harsh for you? I'm up in my head now, trying to find out What is it that I do? She had a way about her that made me feel special. Something in her eyes, or maybe a soul. She had a way of telling me all of my problems. I guess some women have a way to know. But what was the problem? Was something I said just a little too harsh for you? I'm up in my head now, I'm trying to find out what is it that I do.
Alright guys, so as you can tell, I definitely think the Avalon wins out against the stock preamp. It gives it a warmth and a different character and just puts it in a really good zone. If you're looking for that analog sound, I definitely think that it's worth investing in at least one of these plugins to work with the Unison technology. It's just a great plugin. That's it for the video. If you guys got something out of it, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting stuff like this all the time. I try to do stuff at least a few times a week, and I really appreciate it. It does help the channel grow. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.